Residents of Nairobi, Kenya experience an earthquake-like movement.
The brittle part of the top breaks open and creates these great crevasses.
The earth is breaking apart. Across the world, massive cracks are ripping through the ground, swallowing roads, homes, and entire landscapes without warning. From Africa's deserts to America's farmlands, the terrain is shifting overnight. But why? Is our planet undergoing a radical transformation? Let's uncover the chilling truth. Number 9, the Great Rift. Disaster struck Mai Mahiu, Kenya in April 2024. A deadly flash flood tore through the town, killing at least 50 people and leaving devastation in its wake. But the craziest thing is this tragedy happened in the same region where just a few years ago, the earth cracked open. Back in 2018, Kenya's Mai Mahiu Narok Road got an extreme makeover, courtesy of Mother Nature. A 50-foot deep, 65-foot wide fissure ripped through the ground, swallowing roads and homes overnight. It wasn't just a random sinkhole. It was part of the Great Rift Valley, a massive fault system stretching from the Middle East to Mozambique. You see, this area is sitting on a ticking geological time bomb. The crack in Kenya is part of the East African Rift, a 3,700-mile-long fault system where two tectonic plates, the Somali Plate and the Nubian Plate, are in the middle of a long, messy breakup. As these plates drift apart, the land between them stretches, weakens, and occasionally collapses dramatically. That's exactly what happened here. Geologists say this crack had likely been there for ages, buried under volcanic ash from nearby Mount Longonot. The heavy rains eroded the ash, suddenly revealing the massive hole underneath. So does this mean Africa's splitting in two? Technically, yes, but don't panic. It's happening at a snail's pace, just a few millimeters per year. In a few million years, parts of East Africa could break off and form a new ocean. But that's not exactly a weekend project. Number 8, the Kumbu Icefall. On the climb to Mount Everest's summit, there's one section that strikes fear into even the most experienced climbers: the Kumbu Icefall. This frozen gauntlet, located at the head of the Kumbu Glacier, is a constantly shifting maze of deep crevasses and towering ice formations known as seracs, some as tall as buildings. And the worst part is that everything is moving. Yep, the icefall creeps downhill at a rate of 0.5 to 1 meter per day, which in glaciology terms is basically a sprint. This relentless movement means new crevasses open up all the time, ice towers collapse without warning, and no two crossings are ever the same. Every trip through this frozen nightmare is a roll of the dice. But why is the Kumbu Icefall so unstable? Well, the chaos comes from the way the Kumbu Glacier moves. As it flows down from the Himalayan peaks, it reaches a steep section where the ice at the top moves faster than the ice below. This stress causes the glacier to crack, break, and twist into the treacherous landscape of the icefall. For climbers, it's like navigating through a frozen minefield, one where the terrain actively tries to kill you. Luckily, the icefall doctors step in to save the day. It's a legendary team of Sherpas who dedicate their season to carving a path through this deadly section. They set up ladders across crevasses, secure ropes, and constantly adjust the route as the icefall shifts. Without them, Everest expeditions wouldn't stand a chance. Up next, a massive rift is stretching beneath the US, slowly reshaping the land in ways few realize. And just when you think nature couldn't get stranger, an oceanic abyss appears to be swallowing the Pacific whole. What forces are driving these dramatic shifts? Let's find out. Number 7, Rio Grande Rift. Stretching 700 kilometers from Colorado to New Mexico, the Rio Grande Rift is one of the few active continental rifts in the world, and it's happening right under people's feet. Unlike most rift zones, which tend to be in remote or underwater locations, this one runs straight through towns, highways, and landscapes full of life. It's a rare example of geological forces and human civilization coexisting in real time. About 30 million years ago, the Earth's crust in this region started stretching and pulling apart, slowly breaking into massive blocks. As the land weakened, sections of the crust sank, creating deep basins and rugged mountain ranges, shaping the dramatic landscapes of the Southwest. Ever seen the towering Sangre de Cristo Mountains or the deep, gaping Rio Grande Gorge? You can thank the rift for those. But this geological activity not only shapes the land, it also actively influences life in the region. The Rio Grande River, which snakes through the rift, is a lifeline for water, supporting ecosystems, wildlife, and millions of people who rely on it for drinking water and agriculture. The Rio Grande Rift is still active, meaning the land here continues to shift, stretch, and evolve. It's a slow-motion transformation of the landscape, a reminder that the ground beneath us is never as stable as it seems. Number 6, Thors Well. On the rugged Oregon coast, there's a spot where the Pacific Ocean seems to be swallowed by the Earth itself. Thors Well near Cape Perpetua looks like a never-ending drain pipe, pulling in seawater and then blasting it back out with dramatic force. It's a mesmerizing natural spectacle, equal parts beautiful and terrifying. Despite how it looks, this isn't some bottomless pit leading to the ocean's depths. Thors Well is actually a collapsed sea cave. Over time, relentless waves carved into the rock, hollowing out a cavern until the roof caved in, leaving behind a 20-foot deep hole. Now, as the tides roll in, water surges into the opening, creating the illusion of an endless drain. But the real spectacle unfolds when nature turns up the intensity. During high tide or stormy weather, when the waves crash into the coastline with extra force, water rushes into the hole, disappears for a moment, and then erupts back out in a foamy explosion. It's like the ocean is putting on a dramatic performance, constantly reshaping the coastline with its sheer power. Thors Well may be stunning, but it's also unpredictable. Powerful waves can sweep unsuspecting visitors off their feet, and getting too close can be dangerous. The Pacific Ocean doesn't play around. For those who respect its power, though, Thors Well offers one of the most jaw-dropping natural sights on the West Coast. Number 5, the door to hell. In the middle of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, a pit of fire has been burning for over 50 years. It's called the Darvaza gas crater, but most people know it by a much more fitting name, the door to hell. Back in 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas when things went very, very wrong. The ground collapsed beneath them, leaving behind a 70-meter-wide crater. That alone would have been dramatic enough. But there was another problem. Methane gas was leaking out, posing a serious environmental and safety risk. Their solution? Set it on fire and let it burn off the gas. The expectation was that the flames would die out within a few weeks. Instead, 5 decades later, it's still going, with a strange, ceaseless blaze that looks like something straight out of a doomsday movie. Beyond its apocalyptic appearance, the Darvaza gas crater is a goldmine for scientists studying natural gas fields in extreme environments. Researchers in heat-resistant gear have ventured to the crater's edge to analyze gas composition and soil changes, gathering insights into methane's impact on the atmosphere. Even more surprising, life exists here. Microbes have been found thriving in the intense heat and high methane levels, proving that life can adapt to some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Something that excites astrobiologists looking for clues about survival on other planets. So what started as a scientific miscalculation has turned into one of Turkmenistan's biggest tourist attractions. Adventurers travel deep into the desert to witness the infernal glow, especially at night when the flames paint the sky with an otherworldly orange-red hue. Number 4, Kamoa. Imagine standing on land so fresh it's practically still steaming. That's Kamoa, Hawaii's living, breathing example of how the Earth creates and destroys at the same time. Located inside Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, this place made headlines in 2011 when Kilauea decided to put on a dramatic show. A massive fissure eruption cracked open the ground, spewing magma like a fiery, unstoppable force. Some of these cracks stretched for kilometers, as if the Earth itself was taking a deep breath and then exhaling molten rock. What's wild is that this isn't just destruction, it's creation in real time. Every eruption adds new layers to the Big Island, literally making it bigger, inch by inch. Kilauea, one of the world's most active volcanoes, is basically Hawaii's ultimate land architect, working overtime to shape the island's future. And if you ever visit, you'll be standing on some of the youngest ground on Earth, freshly minted by the planet itself. Number 3, Carbolton. Perched high above Norway's Lysefjord, the Carbolton boulder is one of nature's greatest balancing acts. A massive rock wedged between two cliffs, suspended nearly 1,000 meters above the valley floor. It looks like something out of a fantasy movie, but this gravity-defying stone has been sitting here, unshaken, for around 10,000 years. What happened was that during the last ice age, massive glaciers carved their way through Norway's rugged landscape. As they retreated, they left behind deep fjords, towering cliffs, and, somehow, this 5-cubic-meter boulder, perfectly wedged into place. It's like nature just rolled the dice, and they landed exactly right. Reaching Carbolton isn't just about the photo op, it's an adventure. The hike to the boulder involves steep, rocky trails, and sometimes even crossing a suspension bridge, all while soaking in breathtaking views of Norway's fjords and snow-capped peaks. It's a test of endurance, but the reward? A chance to stand on one of the most nerve-wracking yet incredible spots in the world. And if you dare to step on it, let's just say it's a trust exercise with nature. There's no safety net, no railings, just you, the rock, and a 984-meter drop straight down. It's the ultimate adrenaline rush and a symbol of the delicate balance found in nature. For those brave enough to take that step, it's an experience they'll never forget. For everyone else, the view is just as spectacular from solid ground. Some ruptures vanish over time, others leave permanent marks such as the upcoming crack in an Indonesian city where the ground swallowed everything in its path. And then, a lake that appeared not over centuries, but in a matter of moments. Let's uncover the final two. Number 2, Paloo City. Paloo City sits in the Paloo Valley on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi, a place where the land itself is restless. Framed by mountains, the valley is split by the Paloo Coral Fault, a deep fracture in the earth that makes this region one of the most seismically volatile on the planet. Indonesia's location along the Pacific Ring of Fire already subjects it to frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. But Paloo's position on this fault line magnifies the risk. That risk became reality in 2018, when a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck. In seconds, the ground convulsed, buildings crumbled, and a tsunami surged inland. But the most terrifying event wasn't the shaking or the waves. It was what happened beneath people's feet. The force of the quake triggered soil liquefaction, a rare phenomenon where solid earth suddenly loses its structure and moves like a thick liquid. Entire neighborhoods slid away, houses were swallowed whole, and what had been stable land was transformed into a churning mass. The disaster reshaped the city, both physically and in the minds of those who witnessed it. Streets that had been mapped for generations no longer existed, replaced by chaotic fields of debris and earth that had moved in ways no one thought possible. Scientists and engineers have since studied Paloo's catastrophe to better understand liquefaction and how to prepare for future quakes. This city is a proof of how fragile the ground beneath us can be. What seems solid can shift in an instant, and when the earth decides to move, there is little that stands in its way. Number 1, Reelfoot Lake. Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee isn't just another scenic body of water. It's a lake that shouldn't even exist. Most lakes take thousands of years to form, shaped by slow-moving glaciers, erosion, or volcanic craters. But this one was born in an instant, the result of an earthquake so powerful it made the Mississippi River flow backward. Between 1811 and 1812, the New Madrid Fault unleashed a series of violent tremors, some estimated to be as strong as magnitude 8.0. The ground ripped apart, land sank, trees toppled, and the Mississippi, one of the mightiest rivers in the world, suddenly reversed course, flooding the sunken forest and creating what is now Reelfoot Lake. At 15,000 acres, it's massive, but surprisingly shallow, with an average depth of just 5.5 feet. And if the sight of dead, half-submerged trees sticking out of the water feels eerie, that's because those are the remains of a forest that stood before the earthquake hit, frozen in time, still standing in the lake that swallowed it. The planet is shifting, and the evidence is impossible to ignore. These massive fractures, sudden collapses, and unexplained appearances leave us with more questions than answers.
Isle of Ray draws tourists with its sandy beaches, clear waters, and charming lighthouses. The island spans 3 miles wide and 19 miles long, offering stunning views and unique natural wonders. But what really amazes visitors are the unusual waves near its shores. Instead of rolling horizontally like normal waves, these form a grid-like pattern on the water's surface, similar to a giant chessboard. If you look down from a lighthouse, it seems like an invisible metal grid is hidden just beneath the ocean. But these waves aren't caused by anything under the water. They form naturally because two seas meet near the island, creating a cross sea where waves from different directions collide. Yet the locals whisper of a darker tale of a sunken city beneath the waves that surfaces during the full moon, pulling the unwary into its depths. But here's the catch. These waves are not just beautiful. They are extremely dangerous. The cross sea creates powerful riptides, much stronger than typical ocean currents. Local residents know the risks and avoid the water when these waves appear. Tourists also quickly learn to stay away after seeing how strange and unsettling the water looks. Although a few brave or reckless swimmers have made it into the square waves and back out safely, that's definitely not something to try yourself. In fact, one swimmer was even photographed swimming inside one of these wave grids. It's worth noting that this strange wave pattern is unique. While there are many small islands around the world, the Isle of Ray is the only place known to produce these chessboard waves. The good news? These waves don't occur all the time. On calm, sunny days, the water is safe for swimming and the beach is a great place to relax. But before heading out, it's always smart to check the weather forecast. You don't want to be caught off guard by these powerful waves. But that's not the only thing to be aware of. Nature has a way of surprising us with both beauty and danger. Just as the ocean creates these fascinating grid waves, it can also unleash destructive forces like hurricanes and tsunamis. From a distance, these square waves are breathtaking to watch, but entering the water when they appear is incredibly risky. Nature often shows us this mix of wonder and danger. What looks stunning can sometimes be life-threatening. The ocean is full of mysteries, some exciting and others terrifying. From sharks to strange deep-sea creatures and the fact that most of the ocean remains unexplored, there are plenty of reasons to be cautious. A new, lesser-known danger is something called square waves. If you see these waves, the best thing you can do is get out of the water quickly to stay safe. Next, let's see how Reed Island's square waves compare to other natural wonders. Most of us know about ocean waves. Small ones are fun to play in at a beach, and bigger ones give surfers a thrill. But square waves are something else entirely. They may look cool, but they're extremely dangerous. So what exactly are these waves and where do they appear? One of the places where square waves form is off the coast of a small island in France called the Isle of Ray. This island, about 19 miles long and 3 miles wide, is famous for its sandy beaches, clear waters, and picturesque lighthouses. Tourists love to visit for the views and the peaceful atmosphere. But the most unusual thing about this island isn't on land, it's in the water. Off the coast, square waves appear, creating patterns that look like a giant checkerboard on the surface of the sea. Tourists often climb to higher spots, like lighthouses, to get a better view and take photos of this strange sight. From above, the ocean seems to have a metallic grid under the surface. While these waves are mesmerizing to watch, they're not something to get too close to. It's always safer to enjoy them from the shore. But here's the tricky part. Square waves aren't just rare, they're also unpredictable and dangerous. To understand how they form, let's first take a quick look at how regular waves behave. Waves are affected by winds and weather patterns. Even when the water looks calm, a storm far away can send waves rolling in. These waves, called swells, travel long distances across the ocean. When two swells come from opposite directions and meet, they create a crisscross pattern in the water, forming what's called a cross sea. This is what causes the square waves seen near the Isle of Ray. Since the island sits where two different bodies of water meet, the conditions are perfect for these unusual waves to appear. But here's where it gets worse. The square waves may look harmless from above, but they create powerful underwater currents. Swimmers or boats caught in them can quickly get into trouble. Unlike regular waves, which move in a steady rhythm, the chaotic movement of these waves makes it nearly impossible to swim out safely. Waves crash into each other and start to merge, but they don't mix like you'd expect, such as a river flowing into a lake. These two sets of waves stay separate because they come from different weather systems. When they meet, they don't gently combine, they clash hard, creating a strong riptide that's much more powerful than the usual beach waves. It's so strong that if someone were caught in the middle of these waves, it would be very hard to escape. Even the best swimmers would struggle in these waters, as the current pulls with a force that's hard to fight.
After some time spent by the ocean, most of us feel better. And now research suggests people who live by the coast may be healthier than those who live inland.
People love visiting this island because of its interesting sea conditions. On most days, the ocean here is calm and relaxing, perfect for swimming. But every now and then, the sea changes completely. The cross sea, with its square waves, only appears under very specific weather conditions. The locals know this well and avoid the water when these dangerous waves start to form. Since they understand how risky it can be, accidents on the island are rare. You'll also find warning signs along the beaches, making sure visitors know when it's unsafe to swim. But even with these precautions, a few people occasionally get caught in the waves. Luckily, most of these incidents end without anyone getting hurt, and the people involved usually come back with stories to tell. Let's move on to discover other stunning but risky places around the world. The cross sea at Reed Island is famous because it's so rare. It draws travelers from all over who want to see the unusual square-shaped waves in person. While similar wave patterns can happen in other places around the world, they are usually not as sharp or easy to spot. For these square waves to form, the waves need to meet at just the right angle. In most places, waves lose their shape over time, becoming softer and rounder as they travel across the sea. But at Reed, the conditions are perfect for creating the crisp square patterns that visitors find so fascinating. Many people assume the water is calm when they see it from the shore. What makes these waves tricky is that they can look gentle, but beneath the surface, the currents are pulling in unpredictable ways. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the weather and the sea's behavior before getting in the water. If you ever visit Reed, you'll hear stories from locals about how some visitors misjudge the ocean, only to find themselves in trouble. Fortunately, most of them are rescued or manage to swim back to shore, though they are often shaken by the experience. Reed Island has become a popular spot for adventurers, photographers, and people who love exploring nature. There is something magical about seeing the ocean divided into neat squares, almost like a giant checkerboard. If you plan to visit, make sure to check the weather before swimming. Even when the cross sea isn't present, the currents around the island can be strong and unpredictable. Many visitors enjoy the ocean safely by taking the locals' advice and only swimming when the conditions are right. But the cross sea isn't the only dangerous water in the world. Nature can be unpredictable no matter where you go. For example, there's a place called Boiling Lake on the island of Dominica. As the name suggests, the water there is extremely hot, heated by volcanic gases, making it impossible to swim. Just like at Reed, people are drawn to this unusual sight, but only from a safe distance. It's a reminder that some of the most beautiful places in nature also come with risks. Even with its challenges, Reed Island is unforgettable. The beauty of the cross sea and the peaceful surroundings leave a lasting impression on visitors. Beyond the fascinating waves, the island offers other natural wonders, such as hidden beaches and trails that lead to amazing views of the ocean. Many people who come to Reed are not just impressed by the waves, but also by the island's peaceful atmosphere and welcoming locals. Those who venture beyond the main beaches find quiet spots where they can relax and enjoy the scenery, often without the crowds. But the tricky part is that even the calmest days can quickly turn into dangerous ones. Just when everything seems safe, the weather can shift, and those strange square waves might appear again. That's why it's so important to stay alert and follow the safety advice provided on the island. The ocean is beautiful, but it's also powerful, and it's always better to enjoy it from a safe place. Visitors who take the time to understand the sea and respect the warnings are rewarded with a safe and memorable experience. Now, let's explore more places where nature's beauty is just as dangerous. Many travelers leave Reed with a sense of awe, not just because of the cross sea, but because of the island itself. The unique combination of beauty and danger makes it a place worth remembering. Even after leaving, people often think back to the experience of seeing the ocean divided into those neat square patterns. It's a sight you won't find in many other places. The cross sea is a reminder that the ocean doesn't always behave the way we expect. It shows that nature can surprise us even when we think we've seen it all. Those square waves might look perfect, almost like they were carefully arranged, but they are a natural result of the wind, tides, and currents working together in just the right way. For those lucky enough to see the cross sea in person, it's an experience that stays with them for a long time. The combination of beauty and danger is a powerful reminder of how amazing and unpredictable the natural world world can be. It's also a lesson in respecting nature. Whether it's the cross sea at Reed or the boiling waters in Dominica, these places teach us that the most beautiful things in life often come with risks, and that's what makes them so special. While it might seem like a giant relaxing hot tub, the boiling lake is anything but. Hidden deep in Morant Trois Pitons National Park in Dominica, this lake is actually a volcanic crater filled with hot water. These craters, called fumaroles, form around volcanoes and release steam and gases from the molten rock beneath the earth. The boiling lake has changed many times over the years. It sometimes cools down, dries up, or heats up so much it starts boiling wildly. Even now, no one can predict what it will do next. Some daredevils have tried swimming here, but they face big risks. The water can get extremely hot, and dangerous gases rise from the surface. But the heat isn't the only danger. The lake's boiling can suddenly increase, with scalding steam erupting out of the water. People who get too close have experienced burns and difficulty breathing because the gases in the air can be toxic. There's also the smell. Visitors say it stinks like rotten eggs because of the sulfur. Even if the water seems cool enough in one area, it can suddenly heat up again without warning. It's one of those places where things can change in the blink of an eye, making it tricky to enjoy safely. Over in the Bahamas, Grand Bahama Island hides a very different danger. West End, which looks like a tropical dream with calm, clear waters, is actually one of the most shark-filled areas in the world. These waters are home to many kinds of sharks.
Instead, this shallow sand flat an hour from the West Grand Bahama Island is home to a large number of tiger sharks. Ranked among the top 10 most shark-infested beaches in the world.
And it's not unusual to see fins gliding just under the surface. Adventurous tourists can dive with the sharks here, but they stay inside metal cages to stay safe. It's a heart-pounding experience, but at least there's some protection between you and these powerful creatures. But the sharks aren't the only concern. The water itself can be tricky. Strong currents in these areas can surprise even experienced divers, and the ocean can change its mood quickly. Calm waters one moment can become choppy the next. For those who go through with a dive though, the experience can be unforgettable. Watching sharks move in their natural environment makes people realize that despite their fearsome reputation, these animals are essential for keeping the ocean's ecosystem in balance. The experience is thrilling, but it's also humbling to witness nature's raw power so close up. Meanwhile, over on the island of Barbados, things take a different turn. The beaches on the eastern and northern sides of the island look stunning, with their wild waves crashing against the shore. But unlike the gentle, peaceful waters on the southern and western beaches, these areas are far too dangerous for casual swimming. The Atlantic Ocean hits the island with strong waves and fast currents, making it risky to go into the water. The waves might be beautiful to watch from a safe distance, but they can be deadly if you get too close. And this isn't just about strong waves. The real danger lies in the rip currents. These hidden currents can pull even the strongest swimmers far away from the shore in just seconds. Lifeguards are rare on these beaches, which means anyone getting into trouble may not get help quickly. Surfers are usually the only ones brave enough to face these waves, and even they must be very careful. The water can change quickly, turning a peaceful morning into a dangerous afternoon with little warning. One moment you're standing on the shore, the next a rogue wave might sweep across the sand unexpectedly. Now let's head over to Puerto Rico and explore Condado Beach, located in the vibrant city of San Juan. This beach draws many visitors with its scenic views and lively atmosphere, but it also hides some serious risks. The ocean currents here are strong, and a powerful undertow can make swimming dangerous. It's easy to look at the waves and think it's safe, but many people have been caught off guard by the fast-moving water. Even experienced swimmers can get pulled out to deeper waters before they realize what's happening. But the waves aren't the only tricky part. Red flags are often raised when the water becomes especially dangerous, warning swimmers to stay out of the ocean. However, not everyone listens to these warnings, and accidents happen more often than you might think. Even surfers who come here for the challenge know they need to stay alert. The water might look calm one moment, but it can quickly become rough and unpredictable. With lifeguards on duty, there's some help nearby, but not every rescue attempt succeeds, making it crucial to respect the water's power. All these places, the boiling lake in Dominica, the shark-filled waters of West End, the wild beaches of Barbados, and the tricky currents of Condado Beach, offer breathtaking views and thrilling experiences. But they all have one thing in common. They remind us that nature, while beautiful, can also be very dangerous. Exploring these places means balancing your sense of adventure with caution. You might be tempted to dive right in or test your limits, but these experiences are not without risks. Whether it's the boiling water of a volcanic lake, sharks swimming nearby, sudden waves, or powerful ocean currents, it's important to stay prepared and respect the forces you're dealing with. The thrill of adventure is exciting, but staying safe is what makes the experience truly enjoyable. Whether you're admiring the waves from the shore or swimming cautiously under a lifeguard's watchful eye, the goal is to enjoy the beauty without crossing into dangerous territory. Reflecting on these natural wonders and their inherent dangers, what's the fine line between adventure and recklessness? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights.